She was hired to clean his house, not to heal his broken heart. On a remote, dust-covered ranch, a silent widower and his diligent housekeeper lived by strict rules to hide a simmering passion. But when a lethal winter storm seals them inside, the boundary between master and servant finally shatters. If you are new on my channel, please like this video and comment where you are listening from. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification icon so that you will be the first to be notified anytime I drop a new story. Let's continue. The window shattered. Glass flew across the kitchen floor. I screamed. You would have screamed too. The wind pushed the door open. Bang! So hard it hit the wall and bounced back. Snow rushed inside like white smoke. The lamp went out. Dark. Only the storm talking. Loud. Very loud. "Miss Clara," I shouted. No answer. Listen. Footsteps upstairs. Slow. Dragging. Then a heavy thud. My heart jumped into my throat. I ran. I didn't even put on shoes. The wood floor was freezing cold, but I didn't feel it. The stairs creaked under me. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. Another sound. A man's voice. Low. Rough. "Stay. Downstairs." I froze. That was Mr. Hale. But he was not a man who spoke loudly. Not ever. He barely spoke at all. And yet he sounded afraid. Do you understand? A man like him, afraid? Something was wrong. Very wrong. I climbed 1 more step, slowly. The hallway was dark. Only a weak blue light from lightning came through the far window. The curtains moved like ghosts, and then I saw him. He was standing by the bedroom door, not inside, just staring at it. His hand was bleeding. Blood ran down his fingers and dropped onto the floor. Drip, drip, drip. I whispered, "Sir, what happened?" He did not look at me. He kept staring at the door, and then he said something I will never forget. Don't open it." My chest tightened. "Why?" Silence. Only wind outside. Then a soft sound came from inside the room. A cry, a woman crying. But nobody lived here except him and me. I stepped closer. He grabbed my wrist. Hard. Too hard. His hand was shaking. "Clara, please." He had never said my name like that. Never. I felt my stomach twist. "Who is in there?" I asked. He did not answer. Lightning flashed again. For 1 second, I saw his face clearly. You won't believe this. He was crying. Mr. Hale, the silent widower, the cold ranch owner, the man who never smiled, was crying like a lost boy. Then the door handle moved, by itself, slowly turning. We both stared. I stopped breathing. The door opened a crack, and a small hand reached out. A child's hand, tiny, shaking. My heart stopped. I whispered, "Sir, you told me your wife died 5 years ago." He closed his eyes and said, "She did." The child inside the room whispered, "Papa." The storm roared louder, and in that moment, I understood. The ranch was hiding a secret, and I was standing inside it. Morning did not come. The sun never rose that day. Only gray light pushed through the clouds, and the snow kept falling like the sky was emptying itself forever. I made tea. My hands would not stop shaking. The kettle rattled on the stove. The house felt different now, not quiet, listening. Do you know that feeling? Like the walls have ears. I kept looking toward the stairs. No footsteps, no voices, and nothing. But I knew they were up there, Mr. Hale, and the child. I carried the tray anyway, up the stairs again. Each step felt heavier. Halfway up, I almost turned back. I was only a housekeeper. This was not my place. But then I remembered the child's voice. "Papa." Small, weak, lonely. I kept going. At the bedroom door, I knocked softly. No answer. I pushed the door open and froze. The room was not a bedroom anymore. It was a sick room. Medicine bottles everywhere. Wet cloths in a basin, a small bed beside the large one, and in it, a little girl, maybe 5 years old. Her skin was pale, her lips dry. She looked at me with big, frightened eyes. Mr. Hale sat beside her, holding her hand. He looked like he had not slept in days. He stood quickly when he saw me, almost protective, like I was a stranger. "Sir," I said gently, "she needs warm broth." He said nothing, just stared. Then the girl coughed, a deep cough, not a normal one. I saw fear flash across his face, real fear. He whispered, "She cannot see a doctor." My heart dropped. "Why?" He hesitated. Long, painful silence. The wind pushed against the walls. Finally he said, "Because she does not exist." I blinked. I didn't understand. He looked at the door, then at me. Then he whispered, "If anyone finds her, they will take her away." The little girl squeezed his hand. "Don't let them," she said. And suddenly I knew. This was not just a secret child. This was a hidden child, a forbidden child. And somehow, I was now part of it. I swallowed. "Sir, I won't tell anyone." He stared into my eyes, long, searching, and then something changed. The cold distance he always kept cracked just a little. For the first time since I arrived on this ranch, he trusted me. He nodded once, but at that exact moment, a loud knock hit the front door downstairs. 3 heavy knocks, bang, bang, bang. We both froze. The girl gripped his shirt. His face turned pale. He whispered only one word. "Yeah, the sheriff." My heart slammed, because the sheriff never came during a storm. Never. Which meant he wasn't visiting. He was looking for someone. And suddenly, I knew who. The knocking came again. Bang, bang, bang. Not friendly, not patient. It was the kind of knock that says, "Open now, or I will break it." Mr. Hale's eyes went wide. The little girl grabbed his sleeve with both hands. Her voice was a tiny whisper. "Papa, don't." He bent close to her. His voice was soft. Like he was scared the walls might repeat it. "Stay here. Stay quiet. Do you hear me?" She nodded fast. Her lip trembled. I stepped forward. "Sir, let me go." He looked at me like I was crazy. "You?" he mouthed. I nodded anyway, because listen, if the sheriff saw him first, he might panic, and if he panicked, he might say the wrong thing. I did not know all the truth yet, but I knew this. That child was not safe, and if she was taken, Mr. Hale would break. He would not survive it. I felt it, and in my bones. The knocking turned into pounding. Bang, bang, bang. The whole house shook. Snow hissed against the windows. The wind screamed like an angry animal outside. I hurried down the stairs. Each step felt like a drum in my chest. I reached the front door. My hand hovered over the lock. I swallowed. "Who is it?" I called. A man's voice came through the wood, hard and sharp. "Sheriff Briggs, open up." I closed my eyes for 1 second. Sheriff Briggs. Everyone feared him. And not because he was strong, but because he liked rules more than people, and he always thought he was right. I unlocked the door. The wind slapped me in the face. Cold, wet, mean. Sheriff Briggs stood on the porch with snow on his hat and coat. His mustache was white with ice. His eyes were small and cutting. Behind him, 2 men on horses, deputies. Their horses stomped in the snow, snorting like they were angry too. Sheriff Briggs pushed past me without asking. He stepped into the house like it belonged to him. He looked around slowly. His boots left wet prints. Then he looked at me. "Where is Hale?" I forced my voice to stay calm. "Upstairs, sir. He is resting." Sheriff Briggs sniffed the air like a dog, and then he smiled. Not a nice smile. A found-you smile. "I smelled soup," he said. My stomach tightened. Why would soup matter? Then he leaned closer to me. Too close. Girl, he said softly, this storm don't bring me out for no reason. My throat went dry. He turned his head slightly, listening. The house was quiet, too quiet. Then he pointed at the staircase. Tell him to come down, now. I nodded and walked toward the stairs, but my legs felt like sticks. Halfway up, I heard him speak again. And Clara, I froze at my name. How long you been working here? I turned back slowly. Almost a year. He nodded like he was counting something in his head. Long enough to know his habits, he said. Long enough to know his secrets. My heart thumped. He knew. Not fully, but he suspected. I forced a small shrug. Sir, I just clean and cook. He stared at me for a long time. Then he said, Go on. I went up. My hands were cold. My mouth felt numb. At the top of the stairs, Mr. Hale stood in the hallway, already there, already listening. He looked like a man ready to fight a bear with his bare hands. But his eyes were scared. I whispered, It's Sheriff Briggs, with deputies. His jaw tightened. He glanced at the bedroom door. Then he looked at me. Stay near me, he said. And for the first time, he took my hand. Not like a boss ordering a worker, like a man holding on to the only safe thing left. My breath caught. Because that simple touch, it did something to me. It warmed me. It made my heart ache. And it made me afraid too. Because if the sheriff saw that, we were done. Mr. Hale released my hand quickly, unlike he remembered the rules again. Go, he said. We walked down together. Sheriff Briggs was waiting at the bottom like a spider. He looked up at Mr. Hale and smiled like they were old friends. Hale, he said, storm's nasty. Thought you might need help. Mr. Hale's voice was calm, but it sounded forced. I'm fine. Sheriff Briggs's eyes moved past him, toward the hallway, toward the kitchen, toward everything. He was searching without searching. Then he said, and heard something on the road. Mr. Hale did not blink. What did you hear? Sheriff Briggs leaned back, acting casual. Carriage tracks, he said, fresh, going toward your land. Mr. Hale's face stayed blank, but I saw it, a tiny twitch in his cheek. Sheriff Briggs noticed too. His eyes sharpened. Funny, the sheriff said. In a storm like this, who would come to your ranch? Mr. Hale said, No one came. Sheriff Briggs chuckled. You sure? Then he stepped closer. Yeah, because there's a reward, he said softly, for anyone who helps me find a missing child. I felt my whole body go cold. A missing child. He was not here for gossip. He was here for her. Mr. Hale's voice dropped lower. What child? Sheriff Briggs pulled a folded paper from his coat and slapped it on the table. A wanted notice, a drawing of a little girl, not perfect, but close enough. Big eyes, small face, curly hair. My stomach turned. Sheriff Briggs tapped the paper. Name is Rose, he said. 5 years old, taken from her mother in town. Mr. Hale's eyes did not move, but mine did. I looked at the paper. Then I looked away, fast, too fast. And the sheriff saw it. He turned his head to me slowly. Clara, he said, you look like you've seen a ghost. I forced a tiny laugh that sounded broken. No, sir. He stepped closer again. Then why you sweating? He asked. I wasn't sweating, but suddenly I felt like I was. My hands were shaking. Sheriff Briggs looked at Mr. Hale again. Rose's mother says a man came at night, he said. A man with a limp. My heart punched my ribs. A limp. Mr. Hale had a limp. Not big, but there, from an old ranch injury. Sheriff Briggs tilted his head. You got a limp, Hale. Mr. Hale's voice stayed steady. but I heard the tightness in it. Lots of men got limps. Sheriff Briggs smiled again. Then he snapped his fingers at the deputies. Search the house. Mr. Hale moved fast. He stepped in front of the stairs. I know. The sheriff's smile dropped. Excuse me? Mr. Hale's hands clenched. This is my home, he said. You can't just... Sheriff Briggs pulled a paper from inside his coat. A warrant. He waved it like a flag. I can, he said simply. Then he nodded toward the stairs. The deputies started walking. Boots on wood. Heavy. Slow. Boom. 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 Each step felt like a countdown. Mr. Hale turned to me. His eyes were wild. He whispered, barely moving his lips. Go. I knew what he meant. Or go warn the child. I ran. Not fast like a hero, fast like a terrified girl. My feet slipped on the floor. I grabbed the rail and pulled myself up the stairs. My breath sounded loud in my ears. The storm howled outside. The deputy's boots chased behind me. Boom, boom, boom. I reached the hallway. The bedroom door was still closed. I yanked it open. Rose, I whispered. Hide. The little girl sat up, eyes wide. Papa? She whispered. Mr. Hale was not here. He was downstairs facing the sheriff. I rushed to the closet and pulled it open. Dark inside, smelled like dust and old coats. Rose started crying, soft, shaky sobs. No, she whispered. I'm scared. I crouched in front of her. Listen, I wanted to cry too, but I couldn't, not now. I held her cheeks gently. Rose, I whispered, we have to be quiet, like a mouse. Can you do that? She nodded, tears sliding down her face. I pulled her into the closet. I tucked coats around her. I put a finger to my lips. Shh. Then I closed the door almost all the way, just a crack so she could breathe. I turned and froze. A deputy was in the hallway, standing there watching me. His eyes were narrow. He had a scar on his chin. He looked at the closet. Then he looked at me. What you doing? He asked. My mind went blank. My throat locked. Then I forced a smile. I was getting blankets, I said. He stepped closer. The floor creaked. His hand went to his gun. Blankets, he repeated. He reached for the closet door. My heart stopped. I jumped in front of it. Too fast. Too obvious. He stared at me. You hiding something? He asked. I shook my head quickly. No. His eyes dropped to my hands. They were trembling. He moved closer again. Move, he said. I didn't. I couldn't. Then he grabbed my arm and shoved me aside. I stumbled into the bed. The closet door opened. Rose's small sob came out. Just a tiny sound, but enough. The deputy yanked coats aside, and there she was, curled up like a little animal, her face wet with tears, her eyes huge with fear. The deputy's mouth fell open. Well, well, he muttered. He grabbed her wrist. Rose screamed, a sharp, wild scream that cut through the house like a knife. Downstairs, I heard a chair crash. Mr. Hale's voice roared. No! Footsteps thundered up the stairs, fast, angry. The sheriff followed, laughing under his breath like this was fun. Rose kicked and cried. Papa! Papa! The deputy dragged her toward the hallway, and I ran after them, grabbing his coat. Stop! I shouted. She's sick! He shoved me away. I hit the wall. Pain shot through my shoulder. I gasped. Then Mr. Hale appeared at the top of the stairs. His face was not human anymore. It was pure rage, pure fear. He ran straight at the deputy. No thinking, no planning, just love. And when he reached them, he punched the deputy so hard the man dropped Rose. Rose fell into Mr. Hale's arms. He held her tight. Rose clung to him like she would melt into him. The deputy groaned on the floor. Sheriff Briggs stepped forward calmly, too calmly. He lifted his gun, pointed it at Mr. Hale. Put the child down, he said. Mr. Hale's chest rose and fell fast. His eyes were red. He did not put her down. He held her closer. "She's mine," he said. The words hung in the air. Mine. Not "I'm helping her." Not "I found her." Mine. Sheriff Briggs's eyebrows lifted. "Oh," he said softly, "so you admit it." Mr. Hale realized what he had said. His mouth opened. But it was too late. The sheriff smiled like he had just won. Rose cried into Mr. Hale's shirt. I stood shaking in the hallway, feeling useless. Then, a new sound. Not inside. Outside. A long, low crack, like a giant tree snapping. The house trembled. Snow slid off the roof with a deep whoomp. Sheriff Briggs looked toward the window. His face changed. The storm had gotten worse. Much worse. And then the front door downstairs slammed open from the wind. Bang! A gust tore through the house. And the lamp in the hall flickered. The lights went weak. And for a moment, everything went dim. Sheriff Briggs cursed. One deputy shouted from downstairs, "Sheriff, the bridge is gone." The bridge. The only way back to town. Gone. Washed out. Broken. Sheriff Briggs's face hardened. He looked at Mr. Hale again, gun still up. "Well," he said, "looks like we're all stuck here." He pointed the gun closer. "And since we're stuck," he added, slow and cruel, "we might as well talk about what you did and what I'm going to do with you." Mr. Hale backed up, holding Rose. His eyes darted. Left, right, like a trapped wolf. Then he looked at me, and I saw it. A silent question, a desperate one. "Clara, will you help me?" Before I could answer, Sheriff Briggs spoke again, and his next words made my stomach drop. "By morning," he said, "I will have that child." He smiled. "And I will have you in chains, Hale." Then he glanced at me, and his eyes turned dark. "And the housekeeper," he said slowly. "She will tell me everything, or she will pay too." I felt my knees go weak, because I understood something strashining then. The sheriff was not just here for the child. He was here for power, for control. And if he could break Mr. Hale, he would, even if it meant breaking me first. Mr. Hale's voice was low, dangerous. "If you touch her," he said, "I swear." The sheriff cut him off with a sharp laugh. "You swear what?" he asked. "You gonna kill a lawman?" He leaned closer. "You got the heart to be an outlaw, Hale?" Mr. Hale did not answer, but his silence was an answer, and that's when the sheriff's smile faded, because he saw it too. He saw the line Mr. Hale was ready to cross, and then Rose whispered into Mr. Hale's neck, shaking, "Papa, I hear horses." We all froze. "Horses?" Sheriff Briggs snapped. Rose nodded, tears in her eyes. Outside, through the storm, a faint sound came. Hooves, many hooves, getting closer, in through the wind, through the snow, coming to the ranch. Sheriff Briggs's face went pale. He whispered, like he didn't want the storm to hear him, "That's not my men." Mr. Hale stared toward the window, jaw tight, and then he said, barely audible, "Then they're here for her mother." I blinked. Her mother. What did that mean? The hooves got louder, closer, and then a voice outside shouted through the storm, "We know the child is in there." My blood turned to ice, because that voice was not the sheriff's. It was angry, wild, and it sounded like a mob. The kind of people who don't bring warrants. They bring ropes. Mr. Hale held Rose tighter. I stepped back, shaking. Sheriff Briggs lowered his gun slowly, not because he was kind, but because he was scared, and he whispered the worst thing of all. "If those men come in," he said, "we might all die tonight." Then the pounding started again, but this time it wasn't the sheriff knocking, it was the mob. Bang! A bang, bang, and the front door began to splinter. The door cracked. Wood split with a sharp snap. Snow blew through the gap and spread across the floor like white dust. The mob shouted outside, angry voices, many voices. "Open it! Give us the girl!" Another hit. Bang! The top hinge bent. I covered my ears. Rose buried her face into Mr. Hale's neck and cried softly. His arms wrapped around her tighter than before. I could see his hands shaking, but he did not loosen his hold. Sheriff Briggs backed away from the door. For the first time, the lawman looked smaller, not brave, not proud, afraid. He whispered, "They ain't here to arrest. They're here to punish." I swallowed. "Who are they?" He did not answer right away. Another crash shook the house. Then he said quietly, "Town fathers, ranch hands, men who lost something." Mr. Hale's eyes narrowed. "Lost what?" Sheriff Briggs looked at Rose. "Her mother." The words hung heavy. I blinked. I thought they wanted her back. The sheriff shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "They want her gone." The wind howled down the chimney. The fire in the stove flickered low. And in that moment, I understood. This was not rescue. This was revenge. Another strike on the door. The lower plank snapped open. A hand pushed through, trying to reach the latch. Rose screamed. I jumped back. Mr. Hale moved fast. He pulled a chair and slammed it under the knob. The door shook again. Bang, bang, bang. "Our pleas!" I cried. "Why do they hate her?" Mr. Hale closed his eyes. His voice was heavy. "Because they believe she should never have been born." My chest tightened. "What does that mean?" He looked at me, and for the first time, he told the truth. "Rose's mother was married to the richest rancher in the county," he said, "but she loved me instead." I stopped breathing. "They called her wicked," he continued. "They said she shamed her husband. When she ran away, they blamed me." Another slam, and the door frame cracked deeper. Sheriff Briggs muttered, "Town never forgives scandal." Mr. Hale continued, "She came here in the night, pregnant, cold, scared. I hid her, but after Rose was born," his voice broke, "she got sick. Fever took her." Rose whimpered softly. I knelt beside her. "Shh, I'm here." But Mr. Hale shook his head. "That's what they believe," he said. I frowned. "Believe?" He looked toward the window and whispered, "She didn't die." Silence. Even the storm seemed to pause. My heart skipped. "What?" He nodded slowly. "I told everyone she died. I buried an empty coffin." Sheriff Briggs stared. "You lied to the whole town?" Mr. Hale nodded. "Because if they found her, they would hang her." A loud crack shook the door again. One plank split clean in half. A man's face appeared through the opening, red from cold, eyes full of hate. "There he is!" the man shouted. "Child thief!" Mr. Hale stepped in front of Rose. The sheriff raised his gun at the door. Back off." But more hands pushed against the wood. The door would not last. I grabbed Mr. Hale's sleeve. "Where is her mother now?" He hesitated, then leaned closer. "Nearby," he whispered, "in the old canyon cabin." I gasped. "All this time, you were meeting her?" He nodded. "I bring food at night. She can't come to town. If they see her, they will kill her." Rose tugged his shirt. "Papa, Mama coming back?" He swallowed hard. "Yes," he whispered. Then he looked at me and said the words that changed everything. "I need you to take her." My eyes widened. "Me?" He nodded urgently. "There is a back cellar door, leads to the ravine path. Take Rose, go to the canyon cabin." I shook my head fast. "No, you come too." "I can't," he said. "They will follow me, but they won't suspect you." Another smash. The door burst halfway open. Snow blew across the floor. The mob roared louder. Sheriff Briggs looked between us. His jaw tightened. Then slowly, he lowered his gun. I stared. "You're letting them in?" He shook his head. "No," he said quietly. "I'm giving you time." I blinked. "You're helping us?" He looked tired suddenly. "Law ain't always justice," he muttered. Then he shouted toward the door, "Stand back. The roof's unstable." The mob hesitated, only for a moment, but it was enough. Mr. Hale knelt before Rose. He kissed her forehead. His voice trembled. "Be brave, little star." She clung to him. "Come with me," she cried. He almost broke right there. I saw it," he forced a smile. "I will see you soon." He placed her hand into mine, and our fingers touched again, warm, shaking. He looked into my eyes, not employer to servant, not rancher to housekeeper, something deeper. "Clara," he whispered, "I trust you more than anyone." My chest hurt, because I knew what that meant, and I also knew he might not survive this. I pulled Rose gently. "Come." We ran, through the kitchen, through the pantry, down the cellar steps, dark, cold. I found the small door behind the barrels. The wind hissed through the cracks. I opened it. Snow whipped into my face. Night outside, white and wild. Rose squeezed my hand. "I'm scared." "I know," I whispered. We stepped into the storm. Behind us, crash. The front door finally gave way. Men shouting, boots pounding. I closed the cellar door and pulled Rose down the ravine path. The wind screamed in my ears. We stumbled through deep snow. Branches slapped my coat. My lungs burned. Rose stumbled. I lifted her into my arms, heavy, but I kept moving, because behind us, gunshots echoed faintly. One shot, then another. I froze. My heart pounded. Was Mr. Hale hurt? Was he alive? I wanted to go back. I almost did, but Rose clung to my neck. "Please don't leave me," she cried. So I ran. Through the darkness, through the freezing wind, after what felt like forever. A small cabin appeared between the rocks. A candle glowed in the window. We reached the door. I knocked hard. The door opened slowly. A woman stood there, thin, pale, beautiful but tired. Her eyes widened at Rose. "My baby!" She pulled Rose into her arms and cried. Rose laughed and cried together. "Mama!" I stepped inside, shaking from cold and shock. The woman looked at me. "Where is Daniel?" she asked. "Daniel." "Mr. Hale." My throat tightened. "He stayed behind," I said softly. Her face drained of color. Then, far away in the storm, another gunshot echoed. She covered her mouth. I felt tears burn my eyes, and then hoofbeats approached the cabin, fast, too fast. I turned toward the door slowly. The woman whispered, terrified, "They found us." The shadow of riders appeared through the window, and one of them carried a lantern high, revealing the sheriff's badge shining on his coat. Sheriff Briggs had followed us, but he was not alone. The mob was with him, and their ropes were already in their hands. The woman grabbed Rose. I backed away. The cabin door handle began to turn, and I realized we had not escaped at all. The door handle moved, slowly, click. No one inside the cabin breathed. The candle flame shook. Rose held her mother tight. Her small fingers pressed into the woman's dress like she thought letting go would make her disappear. I could hear boots outside, crunching snow, many boots. The wind pushed against the walls, but now the loudest sound was the men, waiting, watching. The handle turned again. The woman, Rose's mother, whispered, "Hide." There was nowhere to hide. The cabin had one room, one table, one bed, no cellar, no escape. Another sound, a voice outside, Sheriff Briggs. "Open the door." Not shouting, not angry, calm. That was worse. No one moved. Rose began to whimper. I knelt beside her. Shh, it's okay. But it wasn't. We all knew it. The sheriff spoke again. Mrs. Carter, I know you're in there. The woman froze. Her name. He knew her name. Her hands shook around Rose. And I won't run, she whispered. I'm tired of running. She kissed Rose's hair. Then she walked toward the door. I grabbed her arm. No, she gave me a sad smile. They won't stop until they see me, she said softly. Her hand opened the latch. The door creaked open. Cold air rushed inside. Snow blew across the floor. Sheriff Briggs stood there with a lantern. Behind him, 6 men, hard faces, tight mouths, and ropes in their hands. Rose screamed, Mama! Mrs. Carter stepped outside. The men stared at her like she was something terrible, like she was a monster. But she wasn't. She was just a mother. One of the men spat in the snow. You shamed the town, he said. She did not fight. She did not run. She simply said, I loved the wrong man. Another man pointed toward the cabin. And the child? Rose ran toward the door. I tried to stop her, but she slipped past me and grabbed her mother's dress. Don't take her, she cried. One man reached for Rose. I stepped in front of her. I know, I said. My voice shook, but I didn't move. Sheriff Briggs looked at me carefully. Clara, he said, step aside. I shook my head. No. My legs were trembling so badly I thought I would fall, but I stayed there anyway. Please, I whispered. She is only a child. The men murmured angrily. One lifted his rope. Then, hoofbeats, fast, close. Everyone turned. A horse burst through the blowing snow. The rider almost fell off when it stopped. My heart stopped too. Mr. Hale. He slid off the horse and stumbled forward. Blood stained his sleeve. His face was pale, but his eyes alive. Rose cried out, Papa! He moved between Rose and the mob, breathing hard. You want someone, he said. His voice was weak but steady. Take me. Silence. The men exchanged looks. Sheriff Briggs frowned. Daniel, you're hurt. I'm fine, Mr. Hale said, though he clearly wasn't. He looked at Mrs. Carter. I should have told the truth years ago, he said quietly. I loved her. On the child is mine. The words hung in the cold air. No one spoke. Then one man shouted, You stole another man's wife. Mr. Hale nodded. Yes. I lied. Yes. I hid her. Yes. Each word came like a weight lifted. He knelt slowly in the snow. Punish me, he said, but leave them. Rose clung to me crying. Mrs. Carter covered her mouth, tears falling. One of the men stepped forward with the rope. My chest tightened. I ran. I didn't think. I just ran and stood beside Mr. Hale. Then you punish me too, I said. Everyone stared. I was shaking, but I kept going. I helped them. I hid the girl. I lied to the sheriff. Mr. Hale looked up at me, shocked. Clara, no. I swallowed. Yes. I looked at the men. You call this justice? A child loses her parents? A mother loses her baby? What does that fix? No one answered. Only the wind. Sheriff Briggs looked at the mob, then at Rose crying in the doorway. His face changed. Something inside him softened. He sighed, and then he turned to the men. Enough. They stared at him. You came for justice, he said. You have truth. The man confessed. He paused. But you will not hang a man tonight, not in a storm, not in front of a child. The men hesitated. One argued, but... Sheriff Briggs raised his voice. I said enough. Long silence. Then slowly, one man dropped his rope, then another, one by one, until none held them. Rose ran to Mr. Hale and hugged him tight. He held her and cried openly now, Mrs. Aunt Carter fell to her knees in relief. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Sheriff Briggs looked at Mr. Hale. You will come to town in the spring, he said. You will stand trial. Mr. Hale nodded. I will. Then the sheriff glanced at me. And the girl stays with her parents. He turned and began walking back into the storm. The men followed, soon. Only wind remained, and quiet, real quiet. Mr. Hale stood slowly. He looked at me, his voice soft. You stayed. I smiled weakly. I couldn't leave. He hesitated. Then gently, he took my hand again. Not quick this time, not afraid. Warm, steady. Months later, spring came. No ropes, no mob. The court fined him, but did not jail him. The truth had softened hearts. Time had cooled anger. The ranch lived again. Rose laughed in the yard. Mrs. Carter planted flowers. And one evening, Mr. Hale stood beside me on the porch. The sun was setting orange across the fields. He spoke quietly. You changed everything. I shook my head. I know. Love did. He looked at me long, very long. Then he said, Clara, will you stay here, not as housekeeper, but as family? My heart raced. I whispered, yes. He smiled, and this time he didn't let go of my hand.